The siren sliced through the quiet Montana dusk like a bad punchline nobody saw coming, turning my half-framed barn into a flashing crime scene. And there she stood, Victoria Langford, clipboard clutched like a holy weapon, smirking as if she'd just caught me running moonshine instead of nailing rafters on my own damn property. I'd moved to Pine Ridge Estates 6 months earlier, chasing the kind of peace you only find in the western Montana foothills. 3 acres, a creek that sang lullabies, and room for Maple and Rusty to finally have a real barn. 15 years as senior county building inspector had earned me that patch of dirt. Every permit was filed, stamped, and cleaner than a preacher's conscience. I wasn't some weekend cowboy cutting corners. I was the guy who signed off on corners for a living. Victoria rolled up on day 3 like the welcome committee from hell. Blonde bob perfect, tennis skirt crisp, smile sharp enough to cut glass. "Welcome to Pine Ridge, Mr. Hayes," she cooed, handing over a binder thicker than my arm. "We thrive on uniformity here. That horse trailer of yours? 48 hours before it violates visual clutter codes. Lawn's exactly 3 inches. No rustic wood tones. Our palette is approved harmony beige only. Standards keep property values high." I kept it polite. "Appreciate the heads up. I'll review it." She leaned in, eyes glittering. "It's not optional, dear. We all sacrifice for the greater good." Sacrifice my ass. It was control in a pastel wrapper. The barn felt like church when I broke ground. Sun cresting the peaks, cedar scent thick in the air, radio humming Merle Haggard. Footings poured, trusses stacked, everything textbook. Around noon I felt it, eyes boring into me. Victoria, half hidden behind her hydrangeas, phone up, snapping pics like I was building a brothel. I waved. She pretended she'd gone blind. That evening the first cease and desist showed up zip-tied to my gate. Pending architectural review. Violations of height, harmony, and aesthetic cohesion. Her board had signed it, but the seal screamed home printer and 2 glasses of wine. I walked it to her porch, permits in hand. "Victoria, full county approval. Happy to show you everything." She didn't even glance. County approval doesn't supersede community standards, Ryan. This barn disrupts the modern prairie vision. It's agricultural. I smiled slow. Funny because the zoning code calls this rural residential. And your clipboard isn't listed in the Constitution as supreme authority. Her smile froze. "Arrogance won't serve you here." The harassment ramped up like clockwork. Notices for grass, 0.1 inches over. Ladder visible from the street. Anonymous noise complaints after 6 p.m. I complied where it made sense, ignored the rest. But when I found floral shoe prints near my lumber and a little silver cat keychain buried by the foundation, her ridiculous pink gardening gloves left prints too obvious to miss. Enough was enough. Cameras went up the next day, gate, barn, eaves. She spotted me on the ladder and stormed over. "Filming me? That's a privacy violation under Section 7.3. "Ma'am, they're on my land facing my barn," I said, calm as still water. "If you're not trespassing, you won't be in frame. Not trespassing is also a rule. Check your own handbook." That night at 11:47 the motion light flared. Footage caught her clear as day. Hoodie up, blonde bob peeking, pink gloves glinting as she pried at my camera. I printed the still, slipped it in an envelope with "This stops now" on the flap, and left it on her porch before sunrise. She was on my driveway by sunset, waving it like a subpoena. "This is intimidation. Stalking. Documented criminal trespass," I replied evenly. "Your move, Victoria." The HOA hearing was packed with folding chairs and folks who loved order and gossip in equal measure. Victoria took the podium like a televangelist. "This man is undermining our entire community. His eyesore barn, his predatory cameras, exhibits a through C." When my turn came I didn't raise my voice. Just opened the folder. County permits with raised seals. Supervisor sign-off. Noise logs. Then the high-res still of her mid-tamper, porch light catching that perfect sneer. The room sucked in a collective breath. Victoria sputtered, doctored. "Harassment." Before she could spin it further, the older deputy from earlier stepped in. "County records confirm it's all legal. Cameras face his own property. Any more interference becomes our problem, not the board's." The vote to boot her from the presidency wasn't unanimous, but it was fast. Her face drained white as her empire of beige crumbled. Control freaks don't retire quietly. 2 nights later I woke to barking. Morning light showed "Rule Breaker" slashed in dripping red across my barn doors. Footage didn't lie. her hand hesitating just once before the first swipe, floral gloves unmistakable. Police report filed. Restraining order served while she pruned her roses. For a split second I saw something flicker in her eyes, not just rage, but a crack. She shattered it anyway. Midnight camera ping. Victoria, crowbar in hand, crouched by the back corner prying at supports when the lights hit her like stage lights on a closing act. I shouted from the porch. Deputies had her cuffed in 8 minutes as rain started falling, and she screamed about community standards, all the way to the cruiser. While tamping soil by the foundation the next morning, my shovel hit with that didn't belong. An old plastic-wrapped box. Inside, faded black and white photos of a low farmhouse on land that matched mine exactly, survey maps, and a deed that stopped me cold. Langford Family Homestead. Acquired by eminent domain, 1979, for a feeder road project canceled in budget cuts. Her family's roots were literally under my barn. The county had taken it, developers had carved up the fields into subdivisions a decade later, and Victoria had spent her life gripping bylaws like a life raft for what she'd lost. I could have buried her, pushed for felony charges. Instead I sat with the county attorney. I'm not looking to destroy anyone. Counseling, relocation help, plea instead of jail. She knocked on my gate at dusk a week later. No clipboard, just a gray sweater and tired eyes. I know I'm not supposed to be here, but I heard you found something. I handed the folder over the fence, paper trembling slightly. Some history shouldn't stay buried. She read it, laughed once like it hurt, and whispered, "Thank you." Victoria left Pine Ridge 2 weeks later. New leadership emailed about community movie nights on the green. No bylaws mentioned. The neighbor who'd once complained about my nail gun now waves when I ride Maple past. I finished the barn anyway. Warm chestnut stain catching the late September light, Dad's weather vane on top, simple bell under the eave so I could call the horses home at dusk. Cameras stay up, not from fear, just as quiet witnesses. Some nights I sit on the porch with a beer, listening to the creek, thumb on that polished cat keychain she left on my sill with a note for Maple and Rusty. Thanks for giving the land purpose again. V. A barn is never just wood and nails. It's proof that solid foundations outlast any storm, and that holding a line doesn't mean drawing blood just to prove the pen is sharp. People love turning neighbor wars into cartoons. Tyrant toppled, underdog wins. The truth is Messier. Victoria broke laws and got held accountable. But inside her control freakery was a woman haunted by land her family lost to the very system she tried to rule here. I'm not excusing trespass or vandalism. I'm saying mercy sees the full picture while still locking the gate. If you're battling your own HOA Karen, remember 3 things. Document everything, speak softer than your temper wants, and never let anyone convince you kindness means surrender. Get those permits ironclad. The weight of a stamped plan is freedom. So tell me, was Victoria the ultimate power-abusing Karen, who earned every bit of that karma, or did the system that took her family's land create the monster she became? True or false? Who really abused power here? The rule breaker who made the rules, or the inspector who chose boundaries with a side of compassion? Drop your take below. Was I too patient, or did mercy make the sweeter justice?